Hey, I hope everyone's doing good this morning. Welcome to Chic Mornings. I am so happy you're here. Thank you for joining me. I am your host and Chief Chic Officer, Mrs. Shakena Robinson. Now you go ahead and grab your favorite cup of tea, coffee, and smoothie. Put up a chair because I am ready to get into it. All right. Okay. Today, we're going to talk about that bag. The cash, that bread, the cheddar, the dough, that mula. And I want to know, what are you willing to do to secure that bag? Have you ever walked away from a nice sum of money because you just wasn't feeling what you had to do to get to it? Talk back to me. Let me know, because I have definitely had a couple situations like that in my life, and it's the way to go for me, but I know everybody is different. So I want to hear from you. Now, I want to take you back down memory lane to when I used to be a dancer. Now, many years ago, before I met my husband and before I became a wife and before I became an outstanding woman of God, I used to be a stripper. The kind of girl that you go tip when you like her. That type of chick. My dancer name was Lala. And, yeah, I was up in the clubs, child. I danced for about 5 years on and off in Appleton, Wisconsin. Shout out to Appleton, Wisconsin. It kind of sucks. So at this time of me dancing, I really learned a lot about myself. I really did learn a lot about myself, because even though I was a dancer and I was in that world, I realized that there were plenty of things that I wouldn't do for money, like, have a sugar daddy, sleep with people. Heck, I even stopped doing private dances. You couldn't pay me to go in the back of no room and grind on you. I wasn't about it. What I focused on as a dancer was my performance. I really took that serious. I'm really not trying to toot a horn, but I'm going to tell you, if you would have seen me in my heyday, then you'd understand what I'm saying when I say that I would have been one of the best dancers that you ever laid eyes on, because of my performance. I'm naturally gifted at dancing, and I enjoyed performing. I really did. So when I got up on the stage, I took it serious. It was like it was my business, and baby, lights, camera, action. Okay. Now, as beautiful as I was and as smart and talented as I was on that stage, I honestly didn't make a lot of dough when I was a dancer. I did not make a lot of money. I was not one of those girls whom the boys would come and make it rain. In fact, you don't see things like that in Appleton, Wisconsin. So it wasn't just me. Like, nobody was really getting rained on. But there were definitely girls who were less talented and less attractive than I that were making a lot more money than me. And it boils down to what we were willing to do for that bag. Now, I'm not saying that every girl who made more money than me was a prostitute or having sex with dudes, because it wasn't the case. I met a lot of cool chicks while I was in that world. Girls that were in school for nursing, who were, just a variety of different women who really had good heads on their shoulders. But the reality is like, I never chased that bag though. Like, when I was inside the club, I didn't go in the club like, oh, I need to make $1,000 tonight. I need to make $1,500 tonight. I didn't have that mindset, because I didn't want to be thirsty. And in my mind, I felt like if I started to think that way, then I would begin to do things that I really didn't want to do to make sure that I got to my goal. So what I focused on when I was in a club was conversations. I talked to people at the bar, try to figure out what they were interested in, have an interesting conversation with them, and make my money that way. And actually it worked, like I wasn't balling. I wasn't that chick that made enough money to open up a strip club of my own. Not that I wanted to do that. But I did definitely pretty good. I definitely made money in it, but it wasn't like a ton of money. I had a daytime gig, so I worked in corporate America in the daytime, and I danced at night. I worked 5 days a week at my corporate gig, and I worked 7 days a week at the club, and I just kept going and going and going and going and going. So of course the two incomes put together, like, I was doing more than fine. But as far as like me just walking into the club and being like, bam, I just made rent and car. No, that I wasn't that chick at all. I had guys that would randomly, sometimes a guy would just walk up and hand me $100 bill to talk to me. I had those type of situations, but never like just I made $1,500 off the stage. I never ever experienced that, but I definitely seen other women experience that on movies like The Players Club. And when I came to Cleveland, Ohio, I forgot, there was this club on St. Clair. I forgot what it was called, but that's where all the ballers, the shot callers, will go and throw them bands for them girls that like to dance. But anyways, in being in that world, I realized that money was not that important to me, and I didn't even start dancing for money. Money had a part to do with it. I did need to make some money, but ultimately I did it because I was curious and I was interested and I was fascinated and I wanted to know more, and I wanted to see if I could be good at it. And so I got in and I almost became a student, paying attention to who was good, in my opinion, and who was not good. And I learned and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. And then one day your girl was bad, honey, talking bad. And it really put me on a mind of entrepreneurship because of the way that I carried myself and how I made my money in the daytime and at night. And so for the bag, I was willing to be a dancer, like I said, 5 years on and off, but I wasn't willing to have a sugar daddy. I didn't give out my number in the club. I didn't play that. Like I didn't. If a guy met me inside of a strip club, I don't care how fine he was. I don't care how much money he had. I don't care how funny he was. Honey, I was not giving my number. If you met me in a strip club, sorry so bad. You got problems. You and I got problems. We both in here, so we shouldn't be together. Now, one time I did give my number to a Green Bay a Green Bay Packer football player. I did. He was a Green Bay Packer. I mean, come on. I soon regretted giving him my number though. But that was the only guy. No, wait, there was this police officer one time. But okay, so just out of 5 years, 2 men received my number from the club. I wasn't on the nonsense. I didn't want nobody paying my bills. I didn't want somebody to possibly murder me. So I tried to play it as safe as I could, even though I clearly wasn't playing it safe as I'm stripping by night. Okay, so that's that situation. But then what's crazy is like there's another time where, and this is like years later, this is like now I'm married. This actually just happened last year. So now I'm married. I have 3 children. I'm definitely far away from that life. I haven't danced in almost 7 years. But so then another situation about me really having to be faced with what am I willing to do for money. Last year, I was an executive vice president of a software company. Okay. And I was making boss moves. Like I don't play when it comes to business. I love it. So as EVP, I was making a lot of moves to position the company to really be worth $10 million in the next 5 years. I solidified an intellectual property attorney who agreed to come on and partner with the company. He agreed to pay for all of our patents. That's like 4 bands a piece. And I had a casino that was really about to give us $100,000 to sponsor us. And I had a lot of things working. I had a lot of things working in a very short period of time. And I had 10% equity in this company. Now I need you to understand me. 10% equity in a company that has a $10 million evaluation, I would have been set. Like the type of set where I just would have took that money and invested it in other things so that I could keep pushing, because I really am a serial entrepreneur. That's what we're going to call me. I'm a serial entrepreneur. And I really got my first taste of this world as a dancer. And I mean, I've had a lot of corporate gigs. Like I've been in corporate America since I was 16 years old. I got my first job at 14, but it really wasn't a corporate gig. But my first corporate gig was 16, and I've been working ever since. So in between my experience in the strip club and like all of my combined experience in corporate America, I was completely ready to be executive vice president. And I did quite a good job. But some things started to happen where I realized that the CEO was not an honest person. He was really one of those people that was out for himself. And if you're not careful, he'll rob you, right? I started to realize this as a little bit of time goes on, and God is giving me dreams. Like I had a dream that my husband and I were standing outside of our house, and there were men inside of our house packing up our house, like packing it up. Okay. They had boxes neatly putting our stuff away. They had two guys coming from downstairs with our mattress in their hand. There was a truck parked in a driveway, and they were about to load up all of our belongings onto this truck. But then they heard the voice of God in our house, and it scared them. They dropped everything, ran out of our house with nothing. But we watched them run out of our house, jump into their truck, drive one house down. So not the house next door to us, but the house next door to that house. They packed up that house, pulled their truck into the driveway, and we watched them put all those people's stuff onto their truck and drove away. So I woke up and I'm like, okay, God, like, who is trying to rob us? Like, what's up? But then as days go by, I'm really realizing that God is showing me what this CEO is trying to do to me and mine. So it's like he obviously understood my value, or else he would not have offered me executive vice president. And everyone that was on his board was in agreement with it because of the experience that I brought to the table and the work that I had been able to do in a short period of time. However, when you're dealing with people like that, those are the type of people that will kill you, that will rob you, that will use you up and just throw you out if they could. And even though we had a contract, I had 10% equity in this company, EVP. We had a witness, all of these things, but it wasn't worth it because I kept remembering the scripture where God says, don't drink from the cup of a wicked man. So I had to come to this crossroad, and I made a decision to leave the company. Which is interesting because in my earlier life, I was a dancer. I did that for 5 years. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I lived my life. I did what I was willing to do and didn't do what I was not willing to do. I went on home. I lived to see another day. But then you fast forward into, that was my early 20s. Then you fast forward to my early 30s, and I'm like not even interested in doing business with a person that's not honest. That's growth, in my opinion, being able to even look at the two. They're two very different situations. We're talking about very different money. In my times as a dancer, like I said, I was not balling. I wasn't that girl that was balling because I wasn't chasing every single dollar. And I ain't just have ballers coming into the clubs that I worked at. But as executive vice president, I had an opportunity to be a millionaire. I for sure would have been a millionaire on the track that I was on, and taking the company and the strategic decisions and moves that I was making and the people that I was bringing on. We absolutely would have made it to our $10 million evaluation and continued to surpass it, because I know for sure I wouldn't have just stopped there. So, but even in thinking about that, like, that wasn't worth it to me. I don't care how much the money is. I don't want to be joined with a person that's wicked or a person that's evil. But y'all tell me what you think. Do you think I'm crazy for walking away from a $10 million evaluation, 10% equity? Baby, that's $1 million a year. That's $1 million a flipping year that I walked away from. Didn't lose no sleep about it, wasn't sweating, wasn't stressing. I'm like, bye, because opportunities come around like buses around here. You feel me? But I really want to know what you think. Do you think I was crazy? Would you have stayed? Do you think I should have handled it different? What are your thoughts? And what's the craziest thing you've ever done for money? Let's talk about this. Go ahead and meet me at my Facebook, Chic Mornings. Comment on the post, tweet me at Chic Mornings, or go to my IG and, find me there. But I'm thinking you probably want to do Facebook or Twitter. But yes, y'all, meet me in the comments. Let's get this conversation popping. For the love of money, people will dun, 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 dun. For the love of money. I really should have listened to the lyrics before I start singing that song. It's been a long time since I heard it. Ciao. Don't forget, you can always make a song request and shout outs. All you have to do is go find us on Facebook, search RP Entertainment, first word, radio, second word. You can post on our Facebook wall or tweet us at RPEntRequest
LINE. Now, don't forget to stick around for our other on-air personalities. We have Miss Sean with her Real Talk segment. That's at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have All Day with his Starting the Conversation. His is at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have DJ Shablast with his DJ Mix every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. And we have DJ Yo Daddy with his Lit Mix, and that's every Friday at 10 p.m. And don't forget to meet me right here every morning, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time for Chic Mornings. I will catch you tomorrow morning. Don't be late.